Part 91. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 920. The Millennium Campaign continues, but don't act rashly without my authorization. After weighing the pros and cons, Carl finally postponed his plan temporarily. After thinking for a moment, Carl moved the star map projected by the big clock to a remote corner. Carl's sight seemed to be able to see through the star map a guy sitting on the throne, holding a female angel and drinking. Snow, go on a trip for me and find the location of the former king of angels, Hua. After thinking for a long time, Carl finally used the few chess pieces in his hand that were still on the table. However, this chess piece was not mature yet, and Carl felt that he needed to cheer up the opponent. Oh my God, do we really have to go find them? Are they angels too? No, Snow, as long as Hua, the former king of angels, does not die, angel civilization will never end the confrontation between male and female angels. Carl closed the projection book he had read and found the location of Hua's headquarters. Seeing that his master god had already sent the coordinates to him, Snow didn't say anything more, because except for the male angels who were driven to the corners of the known universe, they really couldn't find any civilization that could compete with the angels. After Snow had the coordinates of the male angel, he quickly rushed towards the coordinates. After more than a month, he finally reached the edge of the known universe. Hua has lived a very comfortable life in the past thousands of years, because after eliminating the Tianding stars, there is no longer an enemy in the star field that can stop his footsteps. Nowadays, the male angel legion under his command has transformed into a real elite after repeated bloody battles. Of course, Hua is not stupid enough to rely on this bit of wealth to return to the known universe and compete with Merlot Heaven for angel legitimacy. At the same time, in order to expand his power, Hua also recruited many animal civilizations as his servants, avoiding the problem of being unable to govern his territory due to the small number of angels. Report, King Hua, there is an envoy outside who claims to be from Styx, asking to see you. Hua, who was sitting on his throne playing a small game with his concubines, said a little impatiently. That guy dared to disturb my elegance, so he directly told me that I was unavailable. King, the other party said that he has enmity with Merlot Heavenly Court, do we want to do it? When Hua heard the words Merlot Heavenly Court, he immediately looked away from the concubines around him, stood up and waved for them all to get down. The hall that was originally filled with the laughter and playfulness of women suddenly became quiet. Hua rubbed his hands and sat back on his throne. He took care of his somewhat scattered hair and said slowly, "Go and bring in that messenger from Styx." A few minutes later, Snow entered the hall under the leadership of a male angel. The first thing he saw was Hua sitting on the throne at the end. "Great King of Angels Hua, on behalf of my God, I would like to express my respect to you. Your little mouth is like honey. I like to hear what you say." Hearing Snow's deliberately flattering words to him, Hua felt very happy, but Hua was not an idiot. He knew that the person below came all the way to this corner of the universe to find him, and it was definitely not just for some insignificant flattery. Talk. Okay, that god behind you has something to do with me. Seeing that Hua got straight to the point, Snow stopped going around in circles and began to tell her the purpose of his visit. My god, Carl, is the greatest wise man in the known universe, but he had a small conflict with the female angels of the Merlot Heavenly Court not long ago. Now the Merlot Heavenly Court defines us as evil and wants to destroy us. And it just so happens that my god knows that the true orthodoxy of angel civilization lies with you, King of Heaven, and specifically ordered me to come and form an alliance with you to deal with the female angels entrenched in Merlot Heaven. But who knew that as soon as Snow finished speaking, Hua burst into laughter. Interesting, this is the first time I've heard that there are people in the known universe who dare to resist that old woman Kessa. Can you tell me how to form an alliance? Hua has always wanted to rejoin the angel civilization, so he is very interested in the alliance that Snow mentioned. My God has already formulated a way to deal with Kesha, the king of angels, but my God's frontal strength is too weak after all. After destroying Kesha, facing the female angel's revenge, I need the protection of you, the orthodox king of angels. When Huaya heard this, the careless look on his face disappeared. He stood up from the throne and asked in surprise, "Can you destroy Kesha?" Huaya couldn't help but be excited. The name Kesha had been weighing on him for tens of thousands of years, so much so that he almost couldn't breathe. Yes, our God has found the weakness of King of Angels Kesha, but the plan is still being prepared and it will take some time to arrange it in advance. In fact, Snow only knew that his main god had the idea of allowing the fall of the angel King Kesha. Whether it can be realized is still unknown. But now in order to win over Huaya, the king of Tiangong, Snow has to draw a big picture in advance, otherwise the alliance may be ruined. I agree to the alliance you mentioned. As long as you can kill Kesha, I will immediately send troops to the known universe to protect you. Although Huaya agreed to form an alliance, he was not a fool. He would not be used as a weapon by others, so he put forward a prerequisite for sending troops. Snow didn't care. As long as Huaya agreed, the rest of the matter would be out of his control. After Snow left, Huaya fell into deep thought. If the god behind Snow who had an affair with the angel just now really destroyed Kesha, he was thinking about whether he should get involved in this muddy water. Because the risks involved are too great, although Huaya has been staying in a corner these years, he does not pay attention to the news of the known universe. He knows that Merlot Heaven has been managed by Kesha into a behemoth. But soon Huaya stopped thinking so much and just acted according to the situation. If the female angels of Merlot Heaven fell into chaos, then he, the king of heaven, would naturally have the obligation to save those lovely female angels. After Carl received Snow's reply, the plan that was messed up by Binghua was once again smoothed out by him. As for how to make Huaya take the initiative to enter the known universe, it is very simple. As long as he feels that he is invincible and no one is his opponent, the other party will take the initiative to jump into the chess game. And it just so happened that Carl had a good card in his hand, which could serve as Huaya's ticket into the known universe. When the known universe is in a mess, it's natural for him to take action. However, before the plan is implemented, a new research base must be built as soon as possible, otherwise the research on the Void Engine will be delayed for an unknown period of time. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 923. After studying the blazing sun star driving technology for a period of time and gaining a certain understanding of supernova catalysis, Binghua no longer sits in his palace every day. After all, research is never finished, and you must learn to combine work and rest, otherwise you will suffer from psychological problems sooner or later. Just when Binghua came back from the blazing sun, he remembered that he still had a nominal territory in the known universe, and planned to take the time to see how the Dino immigrants were developing there. After all, the two major anti-void god-building projects are there. No matter what they are now, when they grow up, they will be the top fighting gods in the universe. As the goddess of the world of justice, Binghua would not let two third-generation god-level warriors waste their time in China. Therefore, when the time is right, Binghua plans to lead these two third-generation gods to the just world to learn more and be influenced by the concepts of the just world. He did whatever he thought of, and just as Len Hian was on his way to perform a mission, Binghua went directly to the Stargate Dispatch Center alone without notifying his guardian angel. Because there is a Stargate system that directly reaches the Chiwa star system, the angels will send an angel to observe every 100 years to record the changes in the Chinese civilization. According to Binghua's survey of angel observation records over the years, there have been no earth-shaking changes in the Chinese civilization. In addition to the change of dynasties and the rise of new national systems due to historical changes, under the guidance of the Dino survivors, China has shown signs of entering the pre-nuclear era. Binghua was surprised by this. He didn't expect Binghua to resist the method of quickly guiding the development of Chinese civilization and chose to be subtle. This naturally has advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is that the developed civilization will have a higher and more stable social order and humanistic value as a whole. The disadvantage is that it requires a long development and guidance time. Your Excellency, King Tianjian, welcome to visit China. Tokyo, wearing a long gown, greeted Binghua, who came to China through the Stargate at the landing place. Looking at your clothes, you seem to be working as a teacher in China. After Binghua looked at Tokyo, his eyes fell on the stretches of villages and towns under the mountain peak. I promised Lao Sun that I would not forcibly interfere with the development of Chinese civilization, so I will serve as a teacher and teach them some of the positive concepts of our Dino civilization. As for whether the Chinese civilization accepts the ideas of our Dino civilization or rejects it, this is China's own freedom. The tone of Tokyo's words was very sincere, and Binghua could tell that Tokyo was serious. It seems that the destruction of civilization has changed you a lot. This was Binghua's first informal conversation with Tokyo. As he spoke, Binghua felt a lot of weak dark energy fluctuations in the villages and towns below. Binghua then directly used the Eye of Insight to scan the villages and towns below, and immediately discovered a dozen villagers with super-genetically engineered seeds in their bodies. Among them were farmers, traders, and married women. If Binghua hadn't scanned them, he wouldn't have been able to detect that their bodies contained super-genetic engineering that could drive some god-making civilizations crazy. Tokyo saw Binghua's behavior and took the initiative to explain. Dino's super-genetic engineering cannot be directly inherited by the Chinese people. If the super gene in their body is turned on now, they will soon die of body failure due to rejection. Moreover, China currently does not have the prerequisites to cultivate super soldiers. So I gathered these Chinese people with Dino super genetic engineering in this village. While allowing them to reproduce, it is also to allow their bloodline to gradually adapt to the super genes in their bodies. When Binghua heard this, he immediately realized that China was not a world directly under the jurisdiction of the justice world and had mature genetic engineering technology. In addition, the Dino survivors headed by Tokyo are just a group of refugees, so what is left to carry out genetic engineering analysis and adaptive matching of the Chinese people? I've been here for so long, but I haven't seen Sun Wukong. I remember that he is very sensitive to visitors from outside the world. Binghua has no intention of providing assistance to China's supergenetic project, because it is much better to step on the ground step by step than to encourage the righteous world. Lao Sun has been sleeping in Huiguo Mountain because of his last battle with Pan Zhen, repairing his injuries and restoring his clone. His Majesty the Heavenly Sword King was in such a hurry that I didn't have time to wake him up. No, I won't disturb him. I'm just returning to the known universe this time, so I stopped by to take a look at the situation here. After all, this is still my territory in name, right? Binghua chuckled and rejected Tokyo's move to wake up Sun Wukong. In response to Binghua's words, Tokyo just nodded slightly and said nothing. It is a fact that China is protected by the Sky Sword King. The known universe knows how many civilizations there are in China, but no one dares to come here and act arrogantly. Even if they know that King Tianjian will not always focus on China, after all, Liang has learned from the past. The water in China is too deep and they dare not set foot in it easily. Binghua did not stay in China for too long. Apart from the residents of Dino and Sun Wukong, this planet was not much different from other living planets. However, Binghua always felt that the planet Shenzhou was very familiar in his heart, as if he had lived here before. When going back, Binghua did not leave through the Stargate, but chose to fly at faster than light speed, with the goal of reaching the chaotic star field closest to the Chiwa star system. The chaotic star field is actually an asteroid belt with a relatively complex terrain. According to Angel's database, there is a sizable rogue civilization group here. In the past, this group had engaged in star thief activities, but after the angels came to the star field and defined it as the scope of the righteous order, they restrained themselves a lot, for fear that they would be wiped out by the passing angels that day. But according to the latest intelligence, this group of rogue civilization seems to have been in contact with demons recently. Most of the above information is reported from some civilizations that have joined the Order of Justice near the star field where the Wanderer civilization is located. Because it may involve demons, Merlot Heavenly Court arranged its information at the top of the sequence. After Binghua returned to the known universe, she had been paying attention to the news about demonic civilization. After all, she and Morgana had been sisters for so many years. After coming back after a long absence, Binghua wanted to get together with Morgana and remember the past, so she deliberately paid attention to the news about the devil. However, the first time he met the devil, he was so tough that Binghua didn't get any useful information. Originally, there was an update yesterday, but at a dinner party in the evening, I drank too much wine with my brother, and I still haven't recovered from it this morning. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 924. Binghua stopped outside the chaotic star field, and with a thought, everything related to angels on his body disappeared. Apart from his appearance, there was no way to tell that Binghua was an angel before. He was wearing slim combat trousers and a black combat coat that hung down to his thighs. On the back was the crossed swords and wings emblem of the Judgment Angel of the World of Justice. Then, in order to make his disguise more realistic, Binghua put on a metal breathing mask that covered the lower half of his face, and tied his long hair into a high ponytail behind his head. In an instant, Binghua changed from a powerful angel king to a heroic female warrior with outstanding appearance and figure. Finally, a small shuttle was transported from the Justice World, which completed the last disguise of an interstellar explorer. After doing this, Binghua directly drove the shuttle and flew towards the base established by the civilized wanderers in the chaotic star field. According to Binghua's Eye of Insight scan, the base established by this group of civilized wanderers should actually be called a small spaceport. Although it is a bit broken, it still has some basic capabilities of the cosmic starport. As soon as Binghua's shuttle approached the space domain where the base was located, she received a warning asking her to upload her identity information. In this regard, Binghua directly edited the identity of the most common bounty hunter, that is, an interstellar mercenary, and uploaded his own identity and appearance information, which of course was modified to a certain extent. The civilized wanderers in the chaotic star field had no intention of checking carefully. They just uploaded Binghua's forged identity information into their database and stopped paying attention to this small shuttle. The reason for this situation is that Chaos Starfield is not powerful enough to scan Binghua's body. On the other hand, their database is also very ordinary in Binghua's view. The entry of his identity information was just for show, with no intention of careful verification at all. But after thinking about the information about the chaotic starfield base established by the civilized wanderers, Binghua is not too surprised, because this base is similar to the lawless zone at the junction of some civilizations. As he got closer to the base in the chaotic star territory, Binghua's sight also showed the entire image of the other party. Several hollowed-out asteroids are spliced together by metal structures, giving this base with the function of a spaceport good resistance to strikes even if it is not protected by an energy shield. But some details show that the civilized wanderers who built this base did not have sufficient resources, because many of them were welded with the outer armor of large battleships. There were several patrolling small fleets around to maintain order. Before Binghua could observe for too long, her shuttle received the signal to guide it to park. Following the guidance, Binghua drove the shuttle into the airport berth of the space belonging to the civilized wanderer. As soon as Binghua left the shuttle, an airport guard wearing dark power armor stopped in front of her. "Please go over there and pay the parking fee, hurry up." The guard's voice was not very friendly, with a hint of irritation. "What will happen if you don't hand it over?" Binghua's voice was very calm, but the question he asked made the guard snort and directly raise his weapon and aim it at Binghua. "It's okay if you don't hand it over. The boat stays and you stay too." Seeing the guard here raising the gun in his hand, the guards in other places also moved their eyes over and slowly approached here. "I was just joking." Binghua didn't care at all about the gun pointed at him, turned around and walked towards a terminal not far away. It was not until Binghua received a reminder that he successfully paid the parking fee that the guard put down his gun and returned to his position. Upon seeing this, the guards in other areas also moved their gazes away. Binghua walked inside the base. It was more prosperous than Binghua expected. Binghua saw many residents with obvious differences in appearance. The most eye-catching among them are the mercenaries from the Park Nebula, because these mercenaries are generally equipped with relatively advanced weapons. What makes Binghua more curious is what is here that attracts these criminals from the Park Nebula. You must know that they are very taboo about acting within the scope of justice and order. After wandering around the base for more than an hour, Binghua decided to get down to business. She found a corner and leaned against the alloy wall behind her, lowering her head slightly. Eyes. The eye of insight began to quickly scan everything around it, looking for information about the devil. Of course, Binghua did not scan at full strength, as that would be too eye-catching. Just as Binghua was scanning the base, many interstellar mercenaries who had received super gene enhancements noticed the sweeping dark energy fluctuations and secretly increased their vigilance. As for the civilized wanderers who control the base, they are naturally aware of it, but it is useless to detect it, because with their technology, they cannot find the instigator. Just as the top leaders of the civilized wanderers were running around anxiously, this scanning energy wave suddenly disappeared. While the civilized wanderer breathed a sigh of relief, he couldn't help but feel a sense of boldness. As beings who have dealt with angels, they know very well that under the scanning of dark energy, many dirty things cannot be hidden. If the person scanned just now was a high-level angel from Merlo heaven, then their situation would be extremely bad. Binghua closed his eyes of insight and glanced at the base with a cold expression. The scan just now not only allowed her to successfully find the demon hidden here, but also saw a lot of things that were enough for the angel to launch judgment on this place. However, it was not appropriate to alert the enemy at the moment, so Binghua calmed down his emotions a little and planned to upload the scanned information to the Merlot Heavenly Court after he achieved his goal. Through everyone's efforts during this period, the size of our superstar mercenary group has increased by 30%. Your Excellency was very happy and rewarded us with 10 super gene seeds. Sitting at the head of the conference hall was a man with dark purple skin, vertical pupils, slight spike-like ridges on both sides of his cheeks, and a pair of short black horns on his forehead, and he waved his hand. 10 square injectors sealed by unknown metal suddenly appeared on the originally empty conference table. Seeing this scene, many people sitting in the conference hall had fire in their eyes. This ability to retrieve things out of thin air was like a miracle in their eyes. And as long as they accept the gifts from those square injectors, they will also have the opportunity to obtain this power. As for the mere alienation of appearance, it is nothing at all in their eyes. If you want to live a prosperous life in this universe, you can only obtain strong power. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 925. Seeing the fiery eyes of the captains under his command, the leader of the superstar mercenary group was very satisfied. He was originally just an ordinary mercenary from the Bach Nebula, but he accidentally came into contact with a great demon from a demonic civilization. Because he was quite sensible and the big devil he was licking was very comfortable, he was lucky enough to receive the devil's genetic modification and became a real devil. He was then sent here to spread the devil's corrupt ideas of freedom, but in fact the order given to him by the great devil was to cultivate qualified devil warriors. As for the idea of fallen freedom, spread it if you can. If you can't spread it, don't force it, so as to avoid attracting the attention of angels. When it comes to dealing with angels, except for the angel hunting demon team directly under demon number 2, other big demons are relatively weak when encountering angels. Because angels are spread throughout the Stargate of the Order of Justice, a large number of angel warriors will soon be gathered to support them, making the emerging big demon feel desperate. After a few unlucky guys who didn't know the heights of the world tried the method themselves, the other big demons shrank their heads one after another. Without the Queen's summons, they would not easily show up, and they only dared to secretly accumulate their own strength. In fact, nearly 2,000 years have passed since the last war between demons and angels. In addition, the intensity of that war was extremely limited, and the overall strength of the demon civilization has not been greatly compromised. Therefore, these great demons hidden throughout the known universe all have their own fleets and demon legions. On the other hand, because the demon Queen Morgana has not summoned them for thousands of years, these great demons have gradually no longer prioritized the Queen's order to spread ideas, but have continued to develop and strengthen the demons under their command. Legion. As the high-level meeting of the Superstar Mercenary Group ended, the person who had obtained the demon gene seed returned to his room with excitement on his face, holding the injector in his hand. After seeing that there was no one around, he took out the compressed energy crystals he had prepared in advance and directly injected the demon gene seeds into his body. In an instant, starting from the injection point on the arm, purple veins continued to spread to other parts of the body, and the severe pain made the injectors' eyes widen. At the same time, the injectors felt that their bodies were extremely empty and needed to be filled with something. At this time, they all reached out to grab the energy crystals produced from the pocket nebula placed on the table. Immediately, the emptiness in his body quickly began to ease, and was replaced by tingling pain from everywhere in his body. This process lasted for several hours, and they fainted one after another in the severe pain, but the changes in their bodies did not stop. When they woke up again, they found that they were no longer Kamigawa body humans. Their skin turned into the dark purple color more common to demons and was full of texture, and their pupils turned into vertical pupils full of oppression. Seeing this, the top executives of the Superstar Mercenary Group who had successfully accepted the demonic genetic modification laughed excitedly. There were winners and losers. Among the 10 top executives of the Superstar Mercenary Group who were transformed by demonic genes, one died tragically. The demonic genes underwent inexplicable alienation during the strengthening process. In the end, halfway through the demonic genetic transformation, the bearer's body could not withstand such intense transformation and died directly, leaving only a half-mutated body. This makes the leader of the Superstar Mercenary Group feel a bit pity. If the bearer of the demon gene is successfully mutated, then the big demon he is loyal to will definitely upgrade his demon gene to a higher level. With the successful genetic modification of a new batch of demons in the Superstar Mercenary Group, the Superstar Mercenary Group held a meeting again. Now we have added 9 powerful brothers again, so don't be discouraged if you don't get the qualifications. As long as you can complete the task, you will be able to obtain enhanced qualifications. The leader of the Superstar Mercenary Group looked at nearly half of the members in the conference hall who had undergone demonic genetic modification and was very satisfied. Next, I want to talk about our next development direction. Now that we have established a foothold here, the next step is to gradually take control of this base in the Chaos Star territory. By then we will have a steady stream of soldiers, and even if the angels discover us, we will be able to run into them. The Superstar leader did not take Angel seriously in his words. He did this to give his team members confidence, otherwise they would be constrained in everything they do. If unfortunately this place is discovered by the angels, the worst case scenario is that their superstars will simply abandon this place and start a new business somewhere else. Just when the superstar leader was still making pie for his members, the door of the conference hall suddenly deformed and twisted. This scene immediately interrupted the superstar leader's words and successfully attracted the attention of everyone in the conference hall. The next second, the slightly distorted conference hall door detached directly from the door frame and embedded itself into the alloy wall with a bang. A figure walked in with a relaxed pace. Binghua looked around the scene in the room and saw that the demons were stunned when they saw him. They raised their hands and spread their fingers. Suddenly, an invisible force field energy exploded in the conference hall, and the terrifying impact knocked the demons and superstar mercenary members present away and slammed into the surrounding walls. "Who are you? How dare you break into the residence of our superstar mercenary group?" The leader of the superstar group, who was the first to react, rolled over and climbed up. He stretched out his hand and a devil's blade like a scimitar appeared in his hand. Other demons who had been transformed by demons also got up one after another, and each took out their own weapons, including firearms and short blades. Binghua was suddenly surrounded by enemies. Binghua was a little surprised that his weak force field impact failed to make them lose their ability to resist. "If that's the case, let's see some blood." Binghua did not answer the words of the superstar leader. With a thought, the weapons arsenal was unfolded, and a T alloy sword was ejected from the wormhole like a crossbow bolt. Immediately, the sound of sharp weapons entering flesh continued to sound, and a huge gap was directly penetrated into the chests of the demons and ordinary members of the superstar mercenary group who had just stood up. Some unlucky had simply disappeared. The only difference between the scene and the previous one was that there were more than a dozen Te alloy swords that were submerged in most of the alloy wall and were dripping blood. This scene frightened the only survivor present, the superstar captain, and his hand holding the demon blade trembled slightly. When Binghua's eyes fell on him, the superstar leader's body trembled, and the next second he decisively threw away the devil's blade in his hand and raised his hands directly. "My lord, I surrender, please don't kill me. I can do whatever you want me to do." Binghua was a little surprised that this demon was so sensible and did not reply immediately. After finding a relatively clean seat, Binghua sat down and faced the superstar leader, who raised his hands in surrender, and asked directly, "What's your name?" "Sir, my name is Julian, and I am the leader of the superstar mercenary group." A flattering smile appeared on the superstar leader's face that had been modified by demonic genes, and he immediately answered Binghua's question without hesitation at all. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 926. "Okay, you don't have to die for now, I have a few questions to ask you. Of course, you can also choose to hide it. You can become a devil. You should know that dark information scanning has another name called reading." Binghua sat on the chair with a very relaxed posture, without any defense, but the words he said made Julian feel fear in his heart. As one of the few demons who has come into contact with the great demon, he knows a lot of things. Among them, the angel's most famous Eye of Insight, he knows part of the information. Angels who happen to be proficient in the Eye of Insight technology can read part of an organism's past memories and information to a certain extent. Coupled with Binghua's extraordinary appearance, even with half of the mask covering it, a possibility suddenly emerged in Julian's mind. But on the surface, Julang didn't dare to show it at all, and even his flattering smile became a little brighter. He now hoped that he could lick this person to make her feel comfortable, and treat himself like a fart. "My lady queen, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I am now your most loyal servant. If you ask me to go east, I will never dare to go west. If you ask me to sit, I will never stand." Binghua's expression did not change when he heard this, but the corners of his mouth behind the metal mask twitched slightly. His attitude changed too quickly. He had just killed all his subordinates in front of him. Although I feel ashamed of Julian's behavior, it undoubtedly saves a lot of trouble. Moreover, if the other party is so cooperative, it may not be possible to break into the devil, find the main force of the devil civilization hidden in the dark, and give Liang Bing a blow. This will undoubtedly greatly alleviate the pressure that the just order needs to bear. After all, the just order is too big and there are many problems that angels need to solve. During Binghua's time in Merlot Heavenly Court, he discovered that Merlot Heavenly Court went out on missions very frequently. Even strategic beings like Holy Left Wing and Leng often needed to carry out some missions. This was almost impossible in the former Merlot Heaven. At that time, most of the high-ranking angels in the Merlot Heaven served as civilized observers, patrolling within the order of justice. The Angel Legion gathers together and is stationed in Merlot Heaven, or forms a Skyblade cruise fleet. If there is a slight change in the order of justice, it will be the Skyblade pressure realm. Now that the heavenly blades are parked in Merrow Heaven, a large number of angel warriors are scattered throughout the known universe in small teams to engage in small-scale confrontations with demons, seriously occupying the combat power of Merrow Heaven. But these are things Kesha needs to worry about. What she needs to do now is to find his demon superior through Langju. Where is your superior demon now, and what is your purpose here? Binghua got straight to the point and asked for the information he most wanted to know. My Lady Queen, my mission is to spread depraved free thoughts here, and to expand my team and recruit as many qualified demon warriors as possible. At the same time, take the opportunity to take control of the space located within the scope of the righteous order. As for my superior, Your Majesty the Queen, I don't know where he is now. Binghua frowned when he heard this, and the surrounding atmosphere suddenly changed. Seeing this, Lang Ju's heart tightened, and he quickly added another sentence. But Your Lady Queen, every once in a while I will report my results to Lord Ermower and go to him to get the demon gene seeds. So Queen, if you want to find Lord Ermower, you only need to wait for a while. Lang Ju quickly revealed everything he knew, and also thought of a way to take Binghua to meet the big demon he was loyal to. Because Lang Ju felt an extremely strong oppressive force from the dark energy fluctuations that Binghua had inadvertently revealed just now. The oppressive force given to him by the great demon Ermal was not even 1/10 of this. Lang Ju immediately knew that he had won the jackpot this time, but at the same time he also knew that it would be difficult for him to escape from this mysterious woman. Now he can only try his best to show his worth to get a chance to survive. Binghua nodded slightly when she heard this. Langju didn't lie, because she had been opening her eyes of insight just now. Then follow your own method and take me to see the Ermal you mentioned after a while. If you leak the news before this, I believe you will know the consequences. After saying that, Binghua sat there with her eyes closed and rested. Seeing this, Langju suddenly felt a headache and cautiously spoke again. My Lady Queen, if you want to meet Lord Ermower, I will have to make some achievements. But all my subordinates were killed by you, the Queen, just now. Please give me some time. I need to recruit new people. When Lang Ju spoke, he was afraid that Binghua would strike him with a sword if he was unhappy. He just saw with his own eyes that the demon warriors under his command were like paper in front of the weapons projected by Binghua, and were easily penetrated through their bodies. Binghua opened his eyes again, glanced at the demon's corpse on the ground, and then slightly expanded the weapon's arsenal. What flew out of the wormhole this time was no longer a Thai alloy sword, but several rather exquisite projection swords. As the blue light particles spread, the room suddenly changed. Both the damaged walls and the corpses on the ground were covered. Both sides of the table in the middle of the conference hall were filled with people again. At this moment, these people were looking at Langju standing there, and one of them, a dark purple-skinned demon, spoke. Please contact your superior demon as soon as possible, and we will fully cooperate with you. Seeing this huge wave, he was extremely shocked. If he hadn't seen them take shape with his own eyes, he wouldn't have been able to tell that they were projections. I will cover you up, and you can contact your superiors. I need you to lead me to the Ermal you are talking about as soon as possible. Otherwise you will be useless and I will find out his whereabouts myself. Binghua didn't mean to threaten Lang Ju. The reason why she spared Lang Ju's life was because having a leading party could save her a lot of time. Although Binghua's tone and expression were calm, Lang Ju felt more and more that he didn't have much time to waste. So Lang Ju immediately sent a message to the demon fleet where Ermor was located through a special channel. Binghua watched Lang Ju's operation from the side, but secretly he was using Samilo to track the receiving position of the signal. As the host of the Eternal Ascendant, Samilo was directly strengthened by Binghua in terms of military capabilities, while Tianjian served as the terminal of the world of justice. The two functions have different tendencies. Therefore, what Binghua is currently connected to is the purification host where Samilo is located, allowing him to do some trivial things such as collecting and analyzing intelligence. When Lang Ju successfully contacted his superior demon EMOL, Binghua also tracked EMOL's location. However, Binghua did not stop the communication between Lang Ju and Ermal, because Liangbing's sense of smell was very keen. If he knew that he was investigating her location, he would probably cut off all links with the outside world and hide. So you must find her location before she reacts, otherwise you will have no chance. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 927. There were no surprises in the communication between Julan and Ermal. Under the cover of the ice blossoms, Julan easily passed the barrier of Ermal. Julan didn't mean to be cunning. He was loyal to Ermal just for strength, but now that his life was in Binghua's hands, he didn't dare to make any small moves. After Julan's verbal attack, Ermal expressed his affirmation of Julan's workability and agreed to Julan's request to come to the main fleet in advance to obtain a new batch of demon gene seeds. My Lady Queen, in 2 days we can set off for the demon main fleet where Lord Ermor is located. After Julan hung up the communication, he immediately ran to Binghua to report. You did a good job, then we will set off in 2 days. As for safety issues, you don't have to worry. The devil can't hurt you with me as your superior. Binghua nodded slightly, affirming Julan's behavior, then stood up from his seat and left the room. Zhu Lang watched Binghua leave, feeling relieved in his heart, even though this person seemed to be very gentle in both his tone of voice and his behavior. But the dozens of dead superstar members told Julan that this person's character was not easy to fool, and he might not even have a chance to defend himself if he made a mistake. Therefore, even after Binghua left, Julan did not have the intention of contacting Elmore again, but began to prepare for the trip in 2 days. 2 days later, at the chaotic Star Territory airport, Binghua and Julan met, and Julan led Binghua onto a black shuttle. Your Majesty, it will take us about a day's sailing to reach our destination. Julan opened his mouth to explain to Binghua while debugging the shuttle. No need to go to such trouble, you arrive at this coordinate first, and I will tell you how to go. Binghua directly sent the coordinates of the nearest stargate to Julan, and then stopped talking. Hearing this, Julan did not ask out loud, but followed the instructions and left the airport, then quickly sailed towards the coordinates provided by Binghua. After a while, Zhu Lang drove the shuttle to the coordinate location. Seeing that the surrounding area was empty, he asked doubtfully. My Lady Queen, there is nothing around here. What are we doing here? Binghua did not answer Julan, but silver energy emerged from his eyes. The next second, a large stargate suddenly appeared in the void in front of the shuttle. Binghua wrote the coordinates of this destination into the stargate, and then the originally empty center of the stargate was occupied by a blue energy vortex. I have already set the coordinates, you can just drive in. Binghua's eyes returned to their original state, and Julan, who was sitting in the driver's seat in front of him, swallowed his saliva. His guess was correct. Binghua is indeed an angel, because only angels can activate the stargate established by Merlot Heavenly Court to quickly travel through the known universe. But it is very dangerous to be a devil and an angel together, because the two identities are naturally in opposition, but now the arrow is on the string and must be launched, and the huge wave has no way out. Zhu Lang can now predict what kind of outcome Lord Ermoer's demon fleet will face after he brings Binghua to Lord Ermoer's fleet. Therefore, after Zhu Lang drove the shuttle into the Stargate, he carefully asked Binghua behind him. "My Lady Queen, I am so cooperative. After I take you into Lord Ermoer's flagship, can you please spare my life? I promise never to step into the world of justice and order again, and to find a place to spend my remaining years in peace and contentment." Binghua unexpectedly glanced at Zhu Lang and found that this guy was almost like a normal person except that he was afraid of death. He didn't have the evil, bloodthirsty, violent and other common shortcomings of demons at all. Therefore, Binghua didn't have a strong desire to kill Julan, but it was impossible to let him go like this. "Don't worry, I won't kill you, but don't think that I will let you go directly. Everyone must pay the price for their actions. Even if I haven't read your mind, I know that you have definitely violated the law of justice and order. But considering that you helped me find the coordinates of the demon fleet after all, you can be exempted from the angel's judgment, but you must also atone for your past." Julan's face immediately fell when he heard this, but he still wanted to know what punishment he would face in the future. "Then Queen, what punishment will I get?" "Incarceration." Hearing this, Julan breathed a sigh of relief, but the imprisonment was okay, and the angel had such a good reputation, so he probably wouldn't abuse a little devil like him. In fact, what Julan didn't know was that when Binghua decided to save him, he might become the first demon imprisoned in angel prison. Through the Stargate network established by Merlot Heavenly Court, Binghua and Julan arrived at the star field where their destination was located in only a few hours. After sailing in the star field for a period of time, Julan received the latest coordinates provided by the demon fleet. As she gradually approached the rendezvous coordinate point, Binghua felt a wave of dark energy sweep across the shuttle she was on. Binghua was well prepared for this and faked the energy response of the demon warrior on herself. At the same time, her appearance also changed in a burst of light and shadow changes. The fair skin became a little darker, and a pair of slender devil horns grew upward on his forehead. The dark pupils turned into a very special blue, and a pair of folded demon wings appeared on his back. This is Binghua's disguise based on the image of the female devil in her memory. Seeing this, Zhu Lang didn't know whether he should remind Binghua or not. "What? Is there something wrong with my mimicry?" As Binghua spoke, he was still looking at his sharpened fingers. "My Lady Queen, I think it would be better for you to disguise yourself as an ordinary demon warrior. What you look like now can only be achieved by high-level demons. They are elites that belong only to the Queen and will never be with ordinary demons like me." When Zhu Lang spoke, he was afraid of offending Binghua, so he was very careful. After hearing this, Binghua realized that she had made such a stupid mistake. In Binghua's memory, the demons she saw were all the main demons led by Morgana, and she rarely dealt with those big demons. Moreover, the lowest level demons that could catch her eye on the battlefield were high-level demons. Ordinary demon warriors could not break through the encirclement and suppression of the Angel Legion soldiers and come to her vicinity. Binghua had no problem admitting her mistakes, and then her image changed again, turning into the image of the demon warrior killed by Julan. Julan secretly breathed a sigh of relief when he saw this. Fortunately, this person listened to the advice, otherwise he might not even be able to pass the first level in a while. At this moment, a wormhole appeared in front of the shuttle, and Julan drove the shuttle through it without being surprised. What then caught the sight of Ice Flower and Julan were the demon warships moored on the backside of the planet. One of the warships, which was several kilometers in size and had a devil's head sculpture on the front of the bow, was particularly eye-catching. It should be the flagship of this devil fleet. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 928. When Julan drove the shuttle into a demon warship, parked the car at the berth inside the ship, and after getting off the shuttle, several demons came over. Julan, Lord Ermoer is waiting for you on the main ship. A demon warrior said aloud, inserting himself between Binghua and Julan. The meaning was obvious, only Julan was allowed to see Ermal alone. Julan was trying to explain Binghua's identity to the demons present, but Binghua's voice sounded directly in Julan's mind. Don't worry about me, just go see Ermal. Julan paused when he heard this, and then spoke to the demon beside him. Then let's go quickly, don't let Lord Ermoer wait too long. After Julang and his group of demons left, the demons present turned their attention to Binghua. Boy, come with us to work. Seeing Julang leaving, the two demon soldiers surrounding Binghua suddenly became rude in tone. Binghua didn't say a word and followed him silently. After discovering that the two demon soldiers did not have life monitoring equipment on them, after turning a corner, two sharp swords immediately penetrated the chests of the two demon soldiers. Before they could scream, the burning energy flames immediately burned them into nothingness. Binghua's figure immediately disappeared into the air, and activated the shielding algorithm to cover up his own dark energy reaction. Although Binghua's accomplishments in space stealth are not as good as those of angels who are proficient in this technology, it is still possible to fool the demons in this fleet. Julan passed through the insect door in the ship unimpeded and boarded the flagship, where he met the leader of the fleet, the great demon Ermer. Binghua stalked and followed him all the way, killing all the demons that might have spotted him along the way. Covered by Binghua's shielding algorithm, the ship's detection system was like a blind man and did not find any abnormalities. What's going on? Where are the soldiers on duty at the insect gate? The dispatcher in the bridge was checking every corner of the ship through the monitoring equipment as usual, when he suddenly noticed something was wrong. Because there were several places where demon warriors usually stood guard, but now they were empty. Hey, is this Quint? Could you please send a soldier to see where Miaosha and Iro are on duty at the insect gate? Are they being lazy? I can't contact them. When something happened to the Devil's frigate, Binghua had already arrived at the Devil's flagship and stopped outside the closed gate. Behind the gate is the demon hall where Ermer used to meet his subordinates and hold important meetings. At this point, there is no need for Binghua to hide anymore. What she did on the frigate was not clean, and it would be a matter of time before she was discovered. But as long as Ermer didn't escape, it would be fine, because Binghua believed that with Liangbing's caution, ordinary demons would not be able to contact her. But it doesn't matter even if Liangbing knows that he has attacked this demon fleet. As long as he can locate her approximate location, it will not be difficult to find her. Therefore, just as Julan was reporting to Ermal that he had transformed a large number of demon warriors during this period and needed more demon genes, the closed alloy door behind him suddenly made a deafening roar. Then there was a harsh and unpleasant sound of metal cutting, and the alloy door that closed the next second turned into pieces and almost collapsed. A beautiful woman wearing a large black coat walked in with elegant steps, her dark eyes showing no emotion. He was obviously sitting on the demon throne that was a little higher than the floor of the hall, but Ermal always felt as if the positions of the two parties had been swapped, and it was himself who was being looked down upon. Who are you, who dare to sneak into my demon flagship? Ermal stood up. Unlike the high-level demons who maintain the characteristics of the Kamigawa body directly under Morgana, Ermal, as a great demon, was nearly 3 meters tall. The dark metal armor that seemed to grow in flesh and blood almost covered his whole body, and even his face had a black cuticle similar to metal. The wide demon wings spread out behind him, and coupled with his scarlet eyes and head with a pair of huge horns, A terrifying sense of oppression suddenly filled the hall. The moment Julian saw Ermal showing his fighting stance, he hid in a corner of the hall, praying constantly that the two people present could not see him. It's quite big, but the configuration is too poor. Binghua had no intention of talking nonsense with Ermal. He had to subdue the other party first, and naturally he would have enough time to ask for the information he wanted to know. Ermal reached out and took out his weapon, a giant sword nearly 3 meters long, with a red prismatic crystal embedded in the sword grid. That was the carrier of the weapon engine. It came from the former Merlot Heavenly Research Department and was Hexy's improved technology. In the entire known universe, only Merlot Heavenly Court and demonic civilization have this type of weapon engine manufacturing technology. Although it was reasonable for the demons under Liangbing to equip such weapons, Binghua felt a little uncomfortable. The result of being in a bad mood is that your shots may be a bit harsh. With a thought, the weapons arsenal was unfolded, and several Taya alloy swords sliced through the air, causing a turbulent airflow to fly out from the void on both sides of the ice flower. After several violent collisions of metal, the Taya alloy sword either spun and sank into the surrounding hall walls, or fell to the ground with a scratching sound and a burst of sparks. Purple energy flames emerged from the supergiant sword in Ermer's hand, and the stance emitted by the weapon engine was tightly compressed on the sword to enhance its destructive power. Its principle is similar to the dark energy cutting of the flaming sword, but it is much weaker in terms of energy consumption and power. These little tricks can't hurt me. Ermal's voice is extremely penetrating, and coupled with his body that crushes Binghua, from the audience's perspective, Ermal has the absolute advantage. At this time, Julian kept praying in his heart that Binghua must win, otherwise he would never get good results in the future, and Lord Ermor would never forgive him as a traitor. There was no change in Binghua's expression, except that the Taya alloy sword that had been partially protruded suddenly retracted into the weapons arsenal and was replaced by the flaming sword that was extremely familiar to everyone present. Ermal's eyes widened slightly, and the next moment, before he could make any other moves, the surfaces of dozens of flaming swords were simultaneously covered with a layer of blazing energy flames, and suddenly shot out. Ermor rushed to one side without caring about his image, and the ground behind him was instantly blasted through by the flaming sword that activated dark energy cutting. Binghua's body remained motionless, but the wormholes in the weapon arsenal spread out on both sides spontaneously adjusted their angles, and the flaming swords that activated dark energy cutting were shot out one after another. Ermal dodged the first wave of flaming swords and could no longer dodge the second wave. He could only block with the weapon in his hand. But just as two of them were knocked away, the third flaming sword that followed immediately penetrated the shoulder. The armor-like skin on its body did not play any role. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 929. When Binghua stopped attacking, 4 flaming swords were inserted into Ermal's body, and the wounds were constantly being eroded by the energy of the flaming swords. The recovery ability of the demon gene had no effect, and Ermal only felt that his body was rapidly becoming weaker. He stared at Binghua, who was approaching unhurriedly, feeling extremely unwilling. He still had many tactics that he had not used yet. Moreover, the space in this hall was also very small, and it was impossible to perform any aerial maneuvers. This was why he was beaten so badly by the opponent's weapon projection. Seeing that Ermor was likely to die directly if this continued, Binghua raised his hand slightly, and all the weapons scattered around turned into blue energy particles and were recycled into the weapons arsenal. I think we can have a good talk now, and I believe you won't refuse this conversation. Binghua didn't care whether Ermor answered or not, and asked directly. Demon King Morgana, do you know where she is now? If you want to get the position of queen from me, don't be ridiculous. Even if I die, Ermor, will still be the queen's most loyal warrior. At this moment, other demon warriors on the demon flagship also came to support. Binghua heard the movement and turned around to face the only exit of the hall and spread his fingers. The next moment, an invisible force field was crushed out, the ground was dented, and the walls of the hall were twisted and deformed. The demon warriors who had just emerged screamed and their bodies floated into the air, and then the sounds of broken bones were heard one after another. As Binghua lowered his hand, the floating demon warriors fell to the ground one after another, their bodies twitching slightly, and they breathed out relying on the powerful recovery power of the demon genes. If you do not receive timely treatment, you will soon die due to excessive injuries and lack of energy to recover. And the reason why he didn't use a force field to crush them all into pieces was not because Binghua was merciful, but because that would have made the place very bloody, which looked quite unpleasant. Just when Binghua was finishing off the supporting group of demon warriors, the alarm of the demon flagship suddenly rang. The accompanying consequence was that the entire demon fleet knew that their flagship had been invaded by unknown entities. Ermari's communication channel immediately rang with calls from the captains of various demon warships. But before Ermur could give the order, with a flash of white light in Binghua's eyes, the dark communication was cut off. Since you don't want to say it, forget it. I'll just read your dark message. Binghua is not a pedantic being. Although reading other people's thoughts is a very inhumane thing, she doesn't care about demons. As the white light in Binghua's eyes became brighter, Ermal's consciousness suddenly became blurred. The eye of insight passed through Ermur and began to collect and preserve all dark information about him in the dark plane. Soon, Binghua read out scenes one after another. There were scenes of Ermur driving a demon fleet to massacre other civilizations, and there were also scenes of him fighting with angels. There are more scenes where he, as the great demon, gives orders to the demons under his command. Until Binghua read the image of Demon King Morgana in Ermal's memory. That was the scene where the Demon King Morgana summoned all the great demons to gather at Demon number 2 more than 300 years ago. After that, there was the process of Ermal going to Devil number 2. Binghua immediately began to read Ermal's memory in this regard. At the same time, Samailo was asked to compare it with the star map of the known universe to find out the location of Demon 2 at that time. However, the amount of this project is a bit large, and it will take a certain amount of time even for Isami-Ilo to purify the host. Now that he found what he wanted, there was no need to continue reading Ermur's past information, so Binghua stopped reading directly. Because reading other people's thoughts and memories is not a pleasant thing, it will contain a lot of junk information. After Binghua stopped reading, Ermal also woke up, but when he woke up he was no longer as strong as before. There was a hint of fear on his ferocious face, and he asked in a trembling voice. "Who are you? You can read my thoughts?" The reason why Ermur is like this is entirely because the conditions required to read the minds of super soldiers are not generally harsh. First of all, it requires the assistance of a celestial computer. At the same time, I also need to be a master of dark information reading technology, otherwise I can only read the dark information of the recent period. But just now he felt that all his memories were unprotected in front of Binghua, allowing him to browse and view them. This is something that only the Demon Queen can do. Could it be that the person in front of her is at the same level as the Queen? But the questions in Elmore's mind ended there, as a flaming sword shot out from the air and penetrated his head. The demon gene, which was already weak, suffered a devastating blow and began to collapse rapidly. Ermal's body began to gradually become particles. The giant waves watching the battle were dumbfounded, because all this happened in just a few minutes. In his eyes, Lord Ermur, who was extremely powerful, was just like a bastard, easily killed by Binghua. The only difference from his dead subordinate is that Binghua changed his weapon. Just when Julian was still thinking about Binghua's effortless killing of Ermal and the crushing of elite demon warriors, he suddenly felt that his body was floating in the air. The next moment there was a roar and a big hole appeared on the top of the hall. Binghua rushed out of the demon flagship with a huge wave and came to the outer space. At this moment, after a series of previous events, the demon fleet had been alerted. Binghua was locked as soon as he rushed out of the demon flagship. The surrounding demon fleet had no intention of communicating and opened fire directly at Binghua because Binghua's clothes were too conspicuous. Facing the incoming purple dark energy beams, Binghua calculated the gaps between them, and used the force field to grab the giant waveguide to avoid the most intensive bombing area. Then Binghua raised his hand and the scorching red energy lines formed an image of a gauntlet around his right arm, which then solidified into the Titan's grip. With Titan's grip, a force field amplification generator and energy source, the strength and range of the force field that Binghua can control immediately increased qualitatively. Soon the force field covered this area of space. At this moment, the demon warships didn't know what happened. But soon they discovered that the battleship they were on was affected by an unknown force field, began to deviate from the planned route, and quickly collided with other surrounding battleships. Although no sound could be heard, the continuous firelight and the demon frigates crashing towards the middle flagship told Julian, the only spectator, that all of this was Binghua's handiwork. Soon under the influence of the force field, almost all the warships of the demon fleet were paralyzed, and a large number of demons were killed in devastating collisions and explosions. There is another one being uploaded, but it is too late. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 930. Demon number 2, Morgana is listening to the information reported by the demons under her command. Not long ago, a demon fleet led by the big demon was destroyed. It was unclear who the enemy was, but there was only one in number. According to the information reported by the surviving demons, they were beaten so hard that they had no power to fight back. Damn, who the hum is giving us demons trouble? One person destroyed an entire fleet of mine. This is not something that ordinary gods can do. After Morgana heard the detailed information, she began to search for a suitable being among all the gods she knew. First of all, Kesha was excluded. She knew her sister, and the other party would never run out just to destroy one of her fleets. Even if he knew the location of his demon fleet, he would only assign the sacred Zozuian to lead the team to carry out the mission of destruction. However, judging from the situation at the scene, there were no signs of angels appearing, and the entire fleet was suspected to have been attacked by an unknown gravity weapon. Of course, Morgana's suspicions also include Binghua, who has returned to the known universe, and this kind of large-scale destruction method is what the other party is good at. Achuo, go and pick up the surviving demon warriors, don't let them be wiped out by the angels. After thinking for a while, Liangbing still opened his mouth and gave instructions to Achuo, who was standing there like a sculpture. Queen, I don't think it's necessary to venture into the realm of the righteous order for the sake of those low-level demons. The root cause of the destruction of Ermari's fleet this time is very strange. I'm afraid it's a trap set by the angels. Morgana frowned when she heard this. Of course she knew that this was probably a trap, but if she didn't lend a helping hand, the demons left there would really have no choice but to wait to die. During the war, she could watch indifferently as the demon warriors under her command continued to fall, but now that she had the ability, it was unreasonable not to rescue them. Achuo, I understand your concerns, but they are also part of the demonic civilization. Go ahead and remember to be careful, the wormhole of Devil 2 will always be reserved for you. When Demon 2 transferred to Ermuir's command, Binghua had already returned to Merlot Heaven through the Stargate. After handing Julian over to the angels of Merlot Heaven and sending him to the angel prison, Binghua met Kesha directly. Binghua, why are you rushing back in such a hurry? I remember that you should have gone to China, which has developed extremely rapidly in recent years, and it is estimated that it will enter the post-nuclear era in less than 500 years. Kesha is also clear about China's affairs. After all, there are two major anti-void projects up there, as well as Dino survivors. If it weren't for the fact that it was Binghua's territory, Kesha would have sent an angel to keep an eye on it. Because these elements put together are simply a collection of contradictions, and if you are not careful, it will cause conflicts among multiple God-making civilizations. Because today's Dino does not have the ability to defend these two God-making projects, if Sun Wukong and Binghua hadn't forced back Liang, China would have turned into a battlefield for various God-making civilizations. Sister Kesha, everything is fine in China, but after I left China, I went to the chaotic star territory and got a very interesting piece of information. Binghua looked around Kesha's palace, found a seat and sat down, ready to share her gains this time with Kesha. What kind of information is it worth for you to come to me and tell me as soon as you come back? Kesha turned off the projection screen in front of her and asked with interest. The approximate location of demon number 2 was obtained by reading the dark plane information of a great demon. Although the coordinates were from a long time ago, I saw in his memory that there were relatively complete facilities there and it should not be a temporary anchorage. Kesha frowned slightly when she heard this. Her originally good mood turned into a feeling of loss due to the appearance of the word Liang Bing. But Kesha soon recovered and confirmed the accuracy of the intelligence to Binghua. Binghua didn't confirm it, but asked Kesha in return. Continuing to fight against demons like this will not do any good to Merlot Heavenly Court. If we can catch Liang Bing's tail this time and take her down, the angel can escape from the entanglement with the devil and use more power to guard against Karl. Binghua pointed out the difficulty of Merlot Heavenly Court now, because most of the attention was taken away by the demons running around. As a result, the angelic civilization's supervision of the Styx galaxy was not strict, and what happened in the Pocket Nebula was not an isolated case. In the darkness unknown to the angels, it is unknown how many civilizations have accepted the support of the Styx. According to Binghua's speculation, it is very likely that Karl is secretly constructing a new order, but the mainstream of the known universe is still the righteous order of angels. Therefore, this order hidden in the dark and dominated by Styx has not yet emerged, but Binghua believes that when Karl is ready, this order will surface. Binghua discussed this with Keisha after returning from the river Styx, and if she wanted to dismantle this hidden order, she could only destroy the river Styx, or cripple it with the power of thunder when it first emerged. Otherwise, it will definitely become the biggest threat to the just order as it develops and grows. As the king of angels, Kesha certainly knew the benefits of getting rid of the demon threat, so she asked straightforwardly, "What are you going to do?" Seeing Kesha's interest in destroying demonic civilization, Hyuka began to talk about the battle plan she made when she returned to Merlot Heaven. A relatively desolate starfield near the edge of the known universe, where Demon 2, Demon 3, and Demon 4 are all parked. Underneath these three demonic celestial battleships is the experimental manufacturing base of demonic gene technology with a main color of dark purple. Not far away is the Devil's Space Dockyard. These were built by Liang Bing in order to strengthen the Devil's civilization, and many angel technologies were used in them. Of course, the warships produced by the demons cannot be compared with those of Merlot Heaven in terms of quality or quantity. After all, one has no shortage of resources, and the former does not even have any territory on the surface. This desolate planet system has been managed by Liang Bing for thousands of years. Except for the fact that there are no residents, the other facilities are extremely complete. Because demon warriors basically have the ability to survive in the universe, this planetary system does not have the colonial bases common to ordinary civilizations. On the surface of each planet are various experimental facilities and vast resource refining and synthesis plants. Although Liang Bing has a close relationship with Karl, as the queen of the demon civilization, she will not rely on Karl for everything. Every time after losing a conflict with an angel, in addition to asking Karl for some emergency resources at the beginning, he would later choose to be self-sufficient. After all, Liang didn't want the demonic civilization he had worked so hard to build to become a flag controlled by Carl. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 931. Carl, has there been any change in Merlot heaven recently? Liang Bing frowned and asked Carl in the communication. The other party had a big clock, and most of the things in the known universe were not secrets to him. Liang Bing, I haven't paid much attention to Angel Nebula recently. After all, you know that the Heavenly Sword King is still in the Merlot Heavenly Court. If my peeping was too obvious, the other party would inevitably use this to knock on the door again and demolish the place where I live now. Carl sighed. For Binghua, a hands-off and silent person, he didn't want to challenge the opponent's bottom line frequently. The opponent didn't have the means to kill him, but he still had the ability to mess up his Styx galaxy. What makes Carl even more tired is that coercion has no effect on Binghua unless he really breaks up with the angel. But Carl also knew that if it really came to that point, Binghua would never just destroy his Death Song Academy like before. By then, the entire Styx would be destroyed. The other party could really do such a thing. During the physical war, Binghua, the commander of the angels, destroyed many planets in order to reduce the casualties of the angels. This is also what Carl fears Binghua the most, because the other party is not the kind of person who is easy to compromise. Carl respects Kesha and her ideas, but is not afraid of her. However, the existence of Binghua is too random, because the other party will make choices outside of his plan at any time. You can't die anyway, and if she wants to tear it apart, just let her tear it apart. Please help me see if Kesha has left Merlot heaven. Not long ago, one of my subordinates was killed for no apparent reason. I've been feeling a little uneasy lately, as if I'm being targeted by someone. Carl heard that Liang Bing's tone didn't sound like he was joking, and his tone became a little more serious. I will help you pay attention to the movements of Merlot Heavenly Court in the future, but Binghua's whereabouts are difficult to grasp. She acts alone most of the time, and her target is too small. Moreover, there is a Stargate network established by Merlot Heavenly Court. Unless she takes the initiative, I will not be able to track her at all. Carl also stated the limitations of his intelligence acquisition. The big clock is very powerful and can detect many things. But things that are too precise will not work, and personnel still need to be dispatched to collect them in person. Okay, that guy will jump out on his own, you just need to pay attention to Kesha. If she and her army of angels touch my current territory, the wealth I finally accumulated will be lost again. Liang Bing didn't fully count on Carl's intelligence. The demons under her command were scattered in the surrounding star field, and if there was any trouble, they would be able to detect it immediately. But what Liang Bing doesn't know is how easy it is for a fourth-generation god who is top-notch in the universe and is proficient in various auxiliary algorithms to sneak into an area monitored by a group of demons. In addition, the devil's detection methods are from the same source as those of angels, so it is even easier to hide from conventional scanning and detection. This is Liang Bing's carelessness. Although the devil can use this to counter the angel's detection method, the angel can also do the opposite to shield the detection from the devil. Binghua wandered around this nameless star field for quite some time, and finally found a trace of the demon's main force recently. Now she found sporadic demons hiding in the asteroids floating nearby, which made her feel happy that her efforts were not in vain. Since the presence of demons means that my idea is right, now it's time to find Liang Bing's exact location. Binghua blocked his dark information with a shielding algorithm, and then used light and shadow drive to hide his figure, easily crossing the demon's outer warning circle. However, Binghua's actions were not smooth sailing. He accidentally ran out of the devil's warning circle several times and had to turn back again. After going through it several times, Binghua had constructed the general scope of the devil's warning circle in his mind, and found that the center of it was a planetary system that was not marked on the star map. Binghua speculated that the residence of demonic civilization was very likely to be in this planetary system, and now the final confirmation was needed. But before that, Binghua did ask Samalo's host about something. How long does it take to build a large temporary jump door? It only takes 5 minutes if all components are intact, and the duration is only 20 minutes. After that, the temporary jump door will be paralyzed due to energy overload. Samalo answered in detail. Now his allegiance is to Binghua. No matter what Binghua asks him, he will not hide it. As for the previous purification agreement, it has long been cancelled by Binghua, and Samalo will no longer spend all his money to implement this agreement. Hearing this, Binghua had an idea in her mind. The Eternal Ascended One's warp gate technology was very powerful. He only needed to build the warp gates in 2 places and establish a connection to reach them quickly across a long distance. When Samalo first had a conflict with an angel, he used the warp gate technology to warp a destruction fortress from the Chaos Star Sea to the known universe. The reason why Binghua asked this question was because she would need to use this technology next. As for the components of the jump door, they had been prepared before coming here. After checking that he had not missed anything, Binghua began to sneak towards his target planetary system. None of the demon warriors along the way, whether they were ordinary demons standing guard or high-level demons leading patrols, noticed a figure passing before their eyes. When Binghua sneaked into the planet that he speculated was most likely to have a demon base, he found that he had found the right place. As soon as she entered the planetary system, she felt the constant scanning of the celestial warship passing over her body. Fortunately, the dark information shielding algorithm used by Binghua was advanced enough. But this also reminded Binghua that she couldn't use too much dark energy now, as any more would definitely be detected. Therefore, Binghua infiltrated very carefully, avoiding all the demons, until he sneaked into a planet where the demon celestial battleship was parked. Binghua recognized Demon 2, Morgana's flagship, at a glance among the 3 celestial battleships parked. This made Binghua's heart shake, which meant that Morgana was here, and judging from the various facilities around it, as well as the resource refining and synthesis factory, it was very likely that this was the Devil's base camp. After confirming that Liang Bing was here, Binghua stopped infiltrating. Her ability was not yet strong enough to sneak into the celestial battleship for assassination. This is because the Devil does not have a perfect defense system like Merlot Heavenly Court, otherwise Binghua would not be able to reach such a close distance from Devil number 2.